Before the world was born in light, it was drowned in silence. In the beginning there was water, or so the stories say. From mountain temples in Mesoamerica to the clay tablets of Mesopotamia, from the icy scrolls of Norse skalds to the fire-lit memories of the Aborigines, one truth resurfaces again and again. The world drowned. The world was judged, wiped clean, and made anew. Why? Why do civilizations separated by oceans, by language, by centuries, all carry the same tale? That the earth once drowned in a great deluge, a divine tide that consumes cities, kings, sinners, and saints alike? This is no ordinary story. This is a whisper from the deep, a memory etched into the bones of humanity. It is myth, yes, but perhaps it is more than that. Perhaps it is the truth wrapped in symbol, soaked in time, handed down not to explain the past, but to awaken something within us. In Mesopotamia, the flood comes with warning. The gods, weary of mankind's noise, seek silence. Enlil, god of the air, grows angry. And so, water terrible and vast devours the land. But one man is chosen. Utnapishtim, warned by the god Ea, builds a great vessel, animals 2 by 2. A flood that lasts days, weeks, until only silence remains. Then the dove, the mountaintop, the covenant. 1,000 years later, that story is retold. This time in the Torah, in the Quran, in the Bible. Noah, like Utnapishtim, is chosen to preserve life while the rest drowns. Again a raven, again a dove, again the rainbow of remembrance. But these are not the only stories. In India, Manu is warned by a talking fish who is none other than Vishnu, god of preservation. The fish grows and grows until it swallows the ocean itself, and Manu's boat, tied to the horn of the divine fish, rides above the chaos. The flood subsides. A new age begins. In Greece, it is Zeus who brings the water. Displeased with humanity's descent into savagery, he commands the flood. Deucalion and Pyrrha, the righteous pair, survive in an ark and repopulate the world by casting stones behind their back, stones that turn into people. The Aztecs speak of 5 suns, 5 cycles, of creation and destruction. The 4th sun, they say, ended in a flood. The gods turned people into fish, and the world was swallowed. In China, stories tell of floods not as punishments, but as chaos. The waters rise, devouring order, and only through the wisdom and perseverance of heroes like you the great does balance return. You does not dam the water, he channels it. He listens to the flood and learns its song. And in the frozen myths of the Norse, after fire and ice collide, the world is reborn from water. Only 2 humans survive, hiding in the branches of Yggdrasil, the world tree, until the waters recede and a new dawn breaks. Flood myths are everywhere. Polynesian chants, African oral traditions, North American native legends all carry this story in some form. Water came, life ended, a few were saved, and the world began again. But what does this mean? Could they all be remembering the same event? A global cataclysm? Perhaps a massive post-glacial melt at the end of the Ice Age? Could it be that the rising seas swallowed ancient cities now lost beneath the waves, leaving only stories behind? Or is it something deeper, something not historical, but spiritual? In mythology, water is more than nature. It is chaos. It is the primal state before creation. In nearly every cosmology, the world is born from water. And so to return to water is to return to origin. To flood the world is not just to destroy it, is to purify, to cleanse the corruption, to start again. Flood myths are not merely warnings. They are metaphysical resets, divine judgments. They speak of civilizations that reached too far, grew too loud, forgot their place in the cosmic order. And so the waters rise and the world is humbled. But always, someone survives. And that survival matters. In every myth, the chosen one, the righteous, the wise, the humble is preserved. He becomes the seed of the next age. He is not perfect, but he listens. He heeds the signs. He becomes the vessel of memory. The flood, then, is a threshold. It is the space between worlds, the moment between death and rebirth. It asks the deepest of questions. What should endure? What must be washed away? And in asking, it mirrors the soul. Every human life in its own way faces its own flood. We build empires of the self-pride, ambition, error, and sometimes those empires collapse. A personal deluge, grief, ruin, loss. From that flood, we rise again. If we hold to something, if we carry what matters, if we listen to the voice beneath the storm. These myths, then, are not just about ancient waters. They are about transformation, the shedding of one world for the birth of another. That is why they persist. They are not bound by geography. They live in the deep language of the human spirit. They speak of humility, resilience, obedience to higher order, and the strange grace found in surrendered. In Jungian terms, the flood is the unconscious, the chaos of the psyche. When it surges, the ego drowns, and only the truest part of the self can float. The ark becomes the symbol of the self, the soul's sanctuary. In symbolic logic, the flood myth is also the story of evolution. Destruction followed by creation, death fertilizing life, the ashes of one age feeding the soil of the next, and that is what makes it heroic. The survivor is not simply spared. He is chosen to carry forward a world's essence. He becomes the steward of future time, the bearer of memory. It is no small thing to hold the last breath of a dying world and breathe it into a new one. This is the task of the mythic survivor. This is why the flood returns in every age, not just in stories, but in experience, in societal collapse, in cultural rebirth, in moments when the old must die so the new can rise. Atlantis drowns, and something else emerges. The Tower of Babel falls, and new tongues are born. The deluge. Comes, and Noah becomes the father of nations. Flood myths whisper to us still. They tell us, when the waters rise, do not despair, build your ark, guard the fire, carry the memory, because beyond the storm there is always a mountain, and the dove still waits to fly.